Medical, fire, or natural disaster. When an emergency arises, our community counts on our fire and medical staff to be there for us. And that requires training, proper equipment, and public investment. On this episode of Delivering Dubuque, we look at Dubuque Fire's response and the steps they take to protect our lives and property. Over the years, fire departments have changed and evolved, adapting to the needs of the community, and that's definitely been true in the city of Dubuque. So here to discuss that with us today and the growth and change here in our fire department is Fire Chief Amy Scheller. So Chief, thank you very much for coming today.
Oh, thanks a lot, Mayor. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, the first thing I want to ask about is just some of those changes, some of the ways that fire departments have evolved over the years, in your experience that you've had and what you see here in Dubuque.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely been a career that's been exciting. Started out just as a fire department, right? Providing fire service, and it's evolved since then. It has been nonstop. So we've added hazardous material, technical rescue, community risk reduction, analyzing data, and then applying our resources appropriately for the community. But really, I think the one thing that's taken off a lot is EMS. There's a misalignment, I think, with the understanding of the fire department. A lot of times you see a fire engine or a ladder truck, and you assume it's just firefighters that are there to work on a fire incident. Well, in fact, it could be firefighter paramedics working an EMS incident. So statistically, about 7,800 calls we handle in the city of Dubuque, and about 80% of those are EMS calls. So to have our fire vehicles equipped with the ALS equipment, the training and the personnel is really critical.
What does it really take for a firefighter these days? I mean, to be qualified to be a firefighter and a paramedic here in the city of Dubuque.
Yeah, that's a great question because it's changed just a little bit. So as a fire department member, previously you were required to be paramedic. And it's really important to understand the levels of paramedicine. There's a basic level, and that's EMTB. And then there's an EMT advanced level, and then there's a paramedic level. The paramedic level takes about a year to get through. It involves pharmacology, drugs, the effect of the body on medications, cardiology, advanced airway. A lot of the things that you can see in an emergency room, these paramedics that are arriving at your house and your business are able to do a lot of those advanced skills. So for testing in the city of Dubuque, we have made one change. We were given approval to test for EMT level and absorb certain numbers of EMTs into our department and support them as they go through paramedicine. And we saw really no big change in our numbers. We were around 17 people last test, and we're about the same number here. It's not a hidden secret that there are challenges with recruitment. Huge drops in the numbers, and we're seeing that nationally across fire departments. We talk about challenges all the time. Is it our communication on what the profession is about? There's so much more. To be a public servant and to serve the community is such a rewarding career. It has been for me, and I know many of the individuals that I work with.
That's a vein, so we can put a tube in.
And so getting that aspect out there, understanding that there's a flexible schedule. It's a 24 on, 24 off. It's different. It's not a Monday through Friday. When you're on the operations side, there's opportunities for advancement, for specialization. You could be a hazardous material technician, you could be a fire investigator, and there are opportunities to retire at the end of a career with a pension.
You mentioned something that I think weighs heavily on me as mayor, and I know it does in city council and the folks here too, is just the challenges in recruiting. The challenges in getting people into these jobs that really are very good careers. There are so many different opportunities in the profession itself and really just in the city of Dubuque to be able to work in a really great place in a great community. When we think about the size of the force and the ability to recruit, is we want to make sure that we respond in the fastest time that we possibly can. But our response times are pretty good from what I understand. So I'm just curious if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to understand what elements make up a response time too. Fire departments across the nation evaluate response time from 3 specific components. One is call handling. And then there's a turnout time component, which is the time the fire department gets notified and when they get their gear on or get their gear in the equipment and start rolling toward that incident. The final is the travel component. And that's a big piece, right? Where stations are located, how we can access residents in the community. Those components we strive for about a 6-minute, 90% of the time, right? So a lot of times people talk in averages. We don't talk in averages. We talk in like almost perfection. So when you see 6 minutes or 6 minutes, 10 seconds, That's at a 90% expectation. We're performing about 8 minutes and 8 seconds, so there's opportunities for improvement. We see opportunities on the call handling side, a little bit of opportunities on the turnout side, but really travel, that's where it comes into station locations and where you put your fleet and where you put your resources.
A city as old as Dubuque, we've had fire stations that have been there for a very long time, and you think about how it grows outward, you kind of have to grow and change with it. As the City Council sets goals and priorities, the last 2 years, one of our top priorities has been locations of fire stations to figure out what is going to be most efficient and effective.
So we're in the middle of that. We're gaining some confidence in some of the data that we're seeing, but they're plotting out different scenarios, which include keeping main headquarters where it is and looking at different locations for all the remaining stations. It includes keeping main headquarters in an additional station, and then 2 stations, 3 stations. I think we're primed here, but it's going to take a little bit of a commitment from the community in recognizing that, and we're going to need a lot of support.
It's great to hear that we have a fire department that is moving in that direction, using real data to be able to make those decisions. So that's great.
Absolutely.
And this takes real investment for a community to have a fire department that's going to perform at the highest level and do the things that we ask of a fire department. A little over 41% of our general fund in the city of Dubuque goes toward paying for public safety. So fire department, police department, 911 services, things like that. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of that investment that a city makes in that kind of a situation?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the critical piece. We have seen some really challenging budgetary changes, and I can speak just to vehicles and equipment alone. You know, the price of those is skyrocketing, and it's skyrocketing across the United States. We already talked about the stations and the commitment there, but even just some of the simple equipment, such as cardiac monitors, those are an investment, but it gives our people an opportunity to be advanced in some of the techniques that they're using. For example, we can defibrillate a patient, but our cardiac monitors will actually tell our first responders the depth and the rate of their compressions, which are most beneficial. That's realized in some of the numbers that we're seeing. We're saving about a person a month at this current year in 2022, and we plan on just increasing that number year after year after year. So that's impactful, but it takes an investment and it takes that understanding. It's not just putting a person on scene, it's putting them on scene well-equipped, well-trained, confident, understanding the technology and the changes of fire and EMS service providers. And we're really looking forward to the future. I can tell you in the 6 months that I've been here, I am really excited. I'm really excited about the personnel that I'm working with, and I'm really excited about the commitment from the community.
So we've covered a lot here today. I mean, talking about a lot of the skills that it takes to be a firefighter, how great of an opportunity it really is, how we're looking for good firefighters, we're looking for those opportunities, but then also just the importance of this in our community as a basic function, a basic public safety organization that a city has to have, the importance of that investment. Well, I know I'm thankful to have you as our chief and have your department here to take care of us every single day. So thank you so much for being here and telling us more about it, Chief. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Mayor.